You know those like scenes in a TV show where someone says something and all of a sudden they replay all the previous moments and didn't realize what was actually
Yes.
happening. I feel like
Yes.
if we, now that they've said don't touch your face, if we rewatch, we're like, go find the videos from when we were children, those home videos, and you're gonna see that the whole time. We're just
No.
like,
If it was a flashback, it would literally just be starting at the beginning of our life until now.
yeah,
Because
I've profoundly washed my hands before this clip.
all we've ever, no, and the worst is, I don't know when the last time is you went into a grocery store or like get on a bus back in the day when we used to be allowed to do those things.
Yeah.
I walk into a grocery store and it's like my nose is on fire. It must be like to just like you go
Absolutely.
crazy. Oh
No,
my goodness. And you're like, people have gone through torture. They've been interrogated by the Russians or whoever and spilled nothing. And I'm pretty sure that all they'd have to do to me is be like, if you tell us, if you tell us where the map is, you can scratch your nose. And I'd be like, I'll tell you anything.
It's true. On the Facebook Live last week with Nathan Betts, we were talking about the COVID-19 stuff. That was what the whole talk was about, how to choose love in time of fear. And obviously talking about stuff like that, I knew I could not touch my face once. And yeah, my face was on fire.
It's the worst feeling
you
in
just
the
feel
world.
a little
Riding the
you
bus,
just want to do this.
Riding the bus or the LRT, like it would actually feel like torture.
Yeah, the thing that scares me the most in our apartment.
Also, just to be clear, I did hit record.
Yeah, for sure. I always think you have record ever since last time, right? I think you're recording. But the scariest moment for me in our apartment is when I press the like on the general floor, the main floor, pressing the button. There's one button up. There's no upper. No, I guess there's an up and a down. If you click up, everyone's pressed that, and you know that if anyone's sick, and I just feel like I know more about germs now. Like it's not just about COVID-19, pink eye, warts, anything. If anybody, every finger in this apartment building touches that button.
Yeah. No, it's turned out that the world is a horrible place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No, it's been interesting, and I feel like I don't know. I feel like people are a little bit lost in terms of nobody really knows. Like everyone has gotten really, really confident in, including myself to a degree. I'll admit this. We've all gotten really confident in our like predictions based on nothing, right? This is not based on anything, except that we've read like lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of articles.
Yeah.
But we are by no means experts, and so to me, I know that we want to hold on to something. We want to have a little bit of assurance, even if we have to give it to ourselves, because this is just weird. And I think I was talking to some people today earlier, and the thing that I was saying, how I feel about this, is that it's like this. What's weird to me is that I think that the time from World War II until now is going to have a name, because we haven't had anything impact the whole world. Like there's war, there's horrible things that happen, not diminishing it at all, but we haven't had anything impact the world. Like normally when there's a war, when there's an earthquake, when there's something catastrophic somewhere that impacts a lot of people, like the rest of the world is relatively fine. And so we all like take care of that part of the world. And this is everywhere. And so there's no going back. We're not going to get back to normal.
Yeah.
There'll be a new normal, and it's going to be okay. And it's fine. But like what we want to is have people say, don't worry, in this many months, everything will be 100% back. And it won't be, because this, Eric Weinstein was doing a live stream and I caught some of it, and a lot of it was way too like nerdy for me to understand.
Who's Eric Weinstein?
Eric Weinstein, he's one of the guys from the intellectual dark web. He coined the term. He's a physicist, mathematician. He's like very progressive, but very free speech. Interesting fellow. I like listening to him. Disagree with him a lot. But if anybody wants to look up Eric Weinstein, it's interesting because if he's going to say something you disagree with, he's going to say it in the most intelligent way possible and challenge what you think. Anyhow, one thing he said was he refers to his current term for the time from World War II until now is the 75 years of inexplicably good luck. And so it's going to be different. And so people are handling this differently. And I think in my mind, this is the reason why we're all kind of feeling a little bit lost, is because it's like processing the fact that like the 75 years is over. And so we're like, okay, the age of the elves is over. And what we're trying to figure out now is like, is this going to become the age of men or the age of orcs? Like, what is, depending on your personality, maybe you have different feelings about where that's going to go. And so, yeah, that's what I've been thinking about. That's what I was thinking about a lot today. And anyways, I don't know. I just talked a whole bunch.
No, that's good, bro. Yeah, it might be relevant to something when you asked if we can do another call. I thought maybe it'd bring up. And we might go on a tangent there and then come back to this because I think they can be related. But
I think you keep on slapping your knee or the table or something.
No, I'm throwing around this.
Oh, what is you? Okay, that's different.
That's
Can I just I'm going to tell you something.
What?
There was a couple things that I thought you were hitting and making noises.
I wasn't hitting. I was just throwing it from hand to hand.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I was 100% surprised when that popped up.
My wife is Russian, so we have these in the home.
I'm not judging.
Yeah, earlier in the call you talked about a Russian conspiracy or something, and I was like, no. The other day I got a call from a friend, and they said, yeah, I just feel really, really lost right now, and I have all this free time. I don't know what to do. They had just kind of assembled their life in a really productive way, and now all the things that they had just signed up for and committed to and part of and doing, and they just got a new job. It's all on pause. And so they were like, hey, what should I do? And I've told them about a story you know well, Josh, not a fictional story. I told them about Todd Bertuzzi and the lockout and how he went from being a mediocre player to being an all-star. Because while all the other players are doing whatever they were doing during the lockout, Todd Bertuzzi said there's nobody. He was a Vancouver Canuck hockey player, and he said that's not for you, Josh, that's for everyone else. I know you know that already. And he said there's no one that's going to train harder than me. And so he trained like crazy for the entire lockout, the year that went missing from the NHL. And when the next season started, he went, in my opinion, you know the stats better than me, but I remember him as being, we loved him, but mediocre. And when they came out of the lockout with all his training, he was an all-star on the top line with Marcus Naslund. And who's the other one, Josh? Scott Morrison.
Brendan Morrison,
that's the one. Yeah, so I just was saying to my dear friend, hey, you know what? Like, use this time like Todd Bertuzzi, in the words of Abraham Lincoln. If someone gave me 6 hours to cut down a tree, I'd use the first 4 to sharpen the axe. And I think this is a time that people should be using any moment of free time they have to be sharpening their axe.
Well, that's what, to me, it reminds me, it makes me think of Tommy John surgery. I think we've had this conversation before. Tommy John surgery is the surgery that replaces a ligament in your elbow, very common among baseball players, especially pitchers. And it's an extreme surgery. It means you're probably out for 1.5 years at least. And the thing about it is that it's this crazy surgery. It means you've basically blown out your elbow. But almost all the pitchers that come back from it are throwing harder, they're throwing better, they're stronger than ever. And so people used to think that the surgery, because they take a ligament from one part of your body and they put it in your elbow, and they're like, well, maybe they're replacing it with a stronger ligament. And they actually had parents would take their 14-year-old sons and be like, I'm going to make my son make the major leagues. And they would go and ask if they could do the surgery because they thought it made them stronger. And what the doctors were trying to tell people was, it's not that the Tommy John surgery makes you stronger. It's that it's such an intense surgery. It's such, and it requires such intense rehab that if you come back from it, the only way you can come back is if you get stronger than you've ever been. And so it forces you through that regimen. And so some people never recover. Some people don't. They don't make it through the rehab. They don't make it through the process, and they never are able to pitch or throw again. But the ones who do come back, they can only come back if they're stronger. And I mean, I'm not making light of the fact that there's going to be death and pain in the next however long. Not making light of that at all, and how horrible all of that will be, not making light of the fact that there's going to be all this joblessness in the economy, and there's going to be people lose their business, and that's brutal. However, when you talk about like making your decisions for today, like you were saying, it's like if you come out on the other side, you can only come out stronger. You can only like I'm not a, I hate the phrase, what doesn't kill you make you stronger. I think what doesn't kill you weakens you, so that you get dropped to the back of the herd and the lions get you.
That's a better quote. But no, Josh, that's it's huge, and I wanna affirm that, like, there's my heart, I've won. My heart, thoughts, prayers are with everybody who is fighting for their life right now, and with everybody in the world who's living in fear, for good reason. People are living in fear. But I do want to encourage us to not like let all that paralyze us into a time of just kind of waiting to see if we can wait this out. But let's be sharpening our axe in this time of waiting. But to link it back to our earlier conversation, I think that my instinct of, okay, what are the areas of my life I can sharpen so that I'm ready to be able to make an extraordinary difference with my life when this is all over. But I might be doing that as if it's the old tool shed, or the old forest. But like you said, when we emerge from this, the world's going to be different. And so we got to start wrapping our mind around, like, what are the skill sets, and what type of knowledge is going to be helpful for us to be investing in now that's still useful then, I'm sure there's going to be certain types of skills and stuff that we could be working on that would have been useful to the old way of life before COVID, but will be less relevant after COVID.
And I think it's put up or shut up time for a lot of us. Like, I've often said, oh, I want to get into a good routine where I'm working out at home in the morning. If I can't get into a routine where I can work out at home in the next 5-6 weeks, I need to never ever say that again, because I don't mean it. Right? Like for you, you said, like, you always said, like, oh, I wish I read more, and now you're reading. Like, I forget how many books you said you read. A lot.
I've finished 29 books so far.
Yeah, that's crazy. And so it's like, if you ever said, like, oh, I'm going to be a reader, and then now you're not reading, no, you're not going to be a reader. And I was saying that to make people depressed. It's more like, no, I think it's for any of us who said, oh, if I had time, if I had time, I'd learn guitar, or I'd do this, I'd get back to painting, all these things. And I think that it's important that we encourage each other to do that, because not only is this the time to put up or shut up, but like, we got to make sure we are doing life-giving habits, and we are taking the time to create.
Speaking of life-giving habits, so last time we chatted on this, you asked me, it's kind of sad, it's probably the last time we really chatted, but bro, we need to calm down. But
we only talk in public.
It's not actually true. We've talked good talk on Sunday. But yeah, no, last time you were asking me how I'm doing, and you're like, hey, you're an extrovert, how are you handling? I was like, well, to be honest, I've actually just like become a huge introvert a couple months ago, when I just found a new love for reading. I just want to spend all my time reading. Yesterday, got up. My job is not at all, like, I'm not at all diminished in terms of my workload because of this. So I got up, and right away I got a ton of work done before our Zoom conference call in the morning. Zoom conference call it up, switch another Zoom conference call. I know a lot of you can relate. And then I just pounded out work the rest of the day, all the way until my wife came home. She was working at a homeless shelter, so she's not able to not go to work yesterday. And so I even helped make supper. Like, I was productive all day long. But I live in a pretty small apartment. I'm not complaining. I never stepped out. Like, I was in this little thing all day, and totally fine from like a mental standpoint. But by the end of the day, I just found myself to be, I hope, characteristically grumpy. I was definitely grumpy. I hope it's not in character. But I just couldn't shake it, and that was really frustrating. I realized that some of the like exercise I get is walking briskly to work in the morning and back. And it's just easy for a lot of us to just sit all day long. That's what I did yesterday. That's what I did today, except when I interrupted myself for a nap. So sitting and napping, man. Anyways, that's to say, starting, I'll let myself start tomorrow, not tonight, because it's already late. But I know I need to start being a little more exercising, or I will just become a very grumpy, unhealthy soul. I'm speaking to you, everyone watching. Don't let yourself be like my today.
I mean, like, for me, it's just I'm taking the time I've barely texted. No, that's not true. because I guess I text a lot more than I thought I did, because I'm like, I barely text. I'm like, I think I've sent 1,000 texts today, a lot for work and stuff. But as much as possible, using the phone as a phone, so where I could just ask someone to text them a quick question as I'm texting, being like, hang on, I can just pick up the phone and call
Why
them
is that, bro?
and ask them. Just
Why
to because maybe I'm fine, but I don't know how they're doing. And maybe by calling them, it'll be a huge thing in their life. And then I just know, for me, if I have those human interactions, I'm going to be feeling better. Right? You said, like, I can sit in front of my computer, and I've had days in the last week where, like that, I'm not short of work either, and I could be sitting there from 8 in the morning until 10 at night, working on all sorts of different things. And it's really easy to, because like I said, there's zero demand. We got all these kids, and we're running out to the store almost every night of the week because we need something. There's so much going on, and so now we're not, and it's easy to just be there. And I think it's I don't know if I've been sitting and not interacting with another human for too long, and so it's just making sure I'm interrupting my day with human interaction. Yeah.
What is some of have you had any, like, I don't know, have you done anything special on Zoom or anything like that to try to break the cycle of isolation? Or I guess you have 4 kids, so every day.
Yeah. No, yeah. It's super different with the kids. I can tell that me being home more, especially the oldest, who's 5.5, is talking to me a lot more. That it's not that she doesn't talk to me, it's that it's like, normally you come home and there's like the home routine, and then the thing, and the how's your day, and what did you do, and like what did you do at school. It's like, instead she just wants to talk to me about all sorts of other stuff, because we don't have to catch up, so to speak. That's been cool. Yeah, but I definitely, like, my normal life, I interact with hundreds of people every day. So it's been a massive adjustment. And even just, I realize I normally walk to the bus, and missing that in the morning. I should probably just get out of the house and like walk around the cul-de-sac in the morning. I don't live on a cul-de-sac, so that'd be weird. I'd have to find a cul-de-sac.
Kind of, it's like a circle.
It's like a loopy thing. Other things I've done, well, I didn't join the family folk dancing party.
We had Josh and I have 9 siblings. Well, yeah, there's 10 children in our family.
Yes.
And so we did the folk dancing thing.
I did get in on the family group charades over Zoom.
Yeah, that was fun.
A couple nights ago, I played Nintendo Wii with our youngest brother over FaceTime. We played the same game at the same time. He kicked my butt at everything. I
don't understand. Did you play, like, were you the character against each other, or you just happened?
No. So we just both played the same game at the same time, and then whoever had the better scores was the winner.
Oh, that's funny.
So it's like we're competing against each other.
It's like you and I playing chess
over
at the same
FaceTime.
Time. So both.
Yes, and if I moved my pieces, yeah. Well, anyways, however it worked. Just, I know, people get creative. Get that human interaction. I feel for the people who are isolated, and we got to figure out a way. Our society has to figure out a way rather quickly to help them out. Like, I would rather I would trade being able to soon gather in groups of 10 and having it stay that way for a long time than having to wait a couple months and go straight to 50, if that makes sense. Like, I think the ability to see other people, like, we had something with our house that needed to be taken care of, and so the landlords had to stop by yesterday, and just they showed up to fix the broken thing, and we're like, people, how are you? How's everything going? As we're like standing far apart from them, and we're just so happy to see them. Are you good? You healthy? And so it makes you realize, like, we got, and that's what I'm worried about. I'm worried about the people who live alone, who are stuck at home. we got to figure out something for them quick.
Yeah. It is where we were a little bit late for this call because I was on my church's like little small group that I'm part of, the Bible study, and it really is it is sweet to see how even in this time churches are able to harness technology, not just for live broadcasts on Sunday mornings, but in smaller ways to be able to be community. And so we were able to share. Yeah, it was good. We were able to share both how people are doing in light of COVID-19, but also some of us were able to share about just challenges we're facing in our life that are totally unrelated. And so to have people, talking and have human interaction, people praying for each other, wrestling through how we could live as a light and salt and light in this time, that was really special. So that was really cool. I know you were saying Calvary, your church, Josh, was like did instead of doing like a Facebook Live, did a Zoom so that you can actually have chats and
Yeah,
stuff.
so everybody could see, and then people could share with each other, and then at the end broke up. Like you can, I had to leave because all the kids are having a meltdown at the same time. But at the end, you could like split up into little groups to talk and pray for each other. Yeah, and this is where I think that like something, and again, not dismissing all the bad that we're going to go through,
Yeah.
but the good things that can come out of this is that intentionality.
Yeah.
Realizing how amazing it is to just check up on people. Like the fact is, I've heard from way more people than I ever hear in a week saying, "How are you doing? What's going on?" I've reached out to all sorts of people, just checking in on them. Our pastor called today. I think he's just calling every single person in the church one by one. How you doing? Do you need anything? Are you guys okay? And I think like awesome. It's almost like we're rediscovering in a way where it's so bizarre. We're rediscovering our sense of community in a time of isolation. It's wild. And I think that's why I go like, it's bizarre that in this time we are somehow undoing all the problems with technology. Like it's supposed
like we're finding the best uses of technology. Josh, there's so much of our days, I'm sure for so many of us, is filled with Zoom calls. And so like this morning, I had my typical look, which was I threw on a suit jacket like on this, but I'm wearing my like Adidas sweatpants, down below.
100%.
And so I think that in years in the future, we're gonna have like 2020 reunions. And that's going to be everyone is going to show up with a suit jacket and like 100%. Adidas sweatpants, or some people might be wearing a bit less on the
just
bottom.
boxers with like suit jacket, tie, and a dress shirt.
It's the 2020 look, not to make light of the pandemic in any way. One other thing that I thought was so funny that someone put on was they said seeing all the memes about COVID-19, World War III, all the stuff of young 2020. The first few months here helps me finally understand why these little kid nursery rhymes like Ring Around the Rosie and stuff like that, or about the bubonic plague and stuff. They weren't written after the time; they were written during the time. It was there in me that humans have always, in a time of like nightmarish pain, of like come up with like ways of expressing in a humorous way the painful reality they're in.
I never thought of that.
Yeah, this was. So just someone's random Facebook comment, I thought.
Yep. 100%.
I hearted that comment.
I just saw a post right before this that that said the other thing that's going to come out of this is we're going to have new time frames that we discuss, because it used to be like morning, afternoon, and evening, and now it's like, oh no, what's happening? That's how you wake up. Pajama time. Productivity, conference call, wine, Zoom call before bed. And those are the new time divisions, except that I don't drink wine because it's disgusting. So I just announced that to the world. I really don't like wine.
This has been an interesting thing. I believe if it's true that you don't drink wine, you don't drink beer, you don't drink scotch. Is this still true?
Yeah. Nothing.
Why don't you drink alcohol, bro?
Oh, we're gonna get into that now?
Yeah, let's go deep.
Let's go into that. Okay. This should have been episode 3, but let's go for it.
I'm ready.
Well, let's back up a little bit. Step 1, no other term for it, but like the grace of God, in terms of not being in a healthy place when I was in my later teens and early 20s. And for some reason, I had a fear in the back of my mind of what would happen if I started drinking anything, with an addictive personality and all those things.
When
And
you
so
say
even though,
when you say anything, do you mean anything or do you mean like anything?
like, so I was in college, people were drinking, hang out, drink a lot, go to a class party for the end of the year, lots of drinking, lots of people saying I should, come on, have a drink. Like not like being mean or abusive, but just like they genuinely thought I was missing out on
We're talking
something
about
that they
alcohol
enjoyed.
drinking.
Yeah.
We're talking about drinking alcohol. We're
Um,
not talking about like you never had a drink of
um,
water or Coca-Cola.
yes, too much Coca-Cola. Yeah. But for some reason, and like I say, it's nothing that I'm better than anybody else because this is a common story for a lot of people, and most people it doesn't end with not drinking. I just had a fear of what would happen if I had anything. So I had this thing that I wasn't going to touch a drop, and then got into my later 20s and working with the church and doing a lot of work with guys in recovery. And at that point, when you're hanging out with people who are in recovery for substance abuse, you don't want to set an example. A lot of guys coming out of recovery, a lot of people coming out of recovery they feel like they need to prove themselves to you. And so um, oftentimes they're embarrassed that they have a past of issues, whatever it is, even though we all have stuff, we all have pasts. But the fact that you know what they're currently dealing with, they feel like it's uneven footing. And so it's like anything you're doing, they think they want to match it. And so if I was like, well, I'm just going to have one drink, it's not a big deal, everything in moderation, they would want to be able to prove themselves. And I didn't want to ever put that on them, that they would feel bad about the fact that they can't have one drink, that they can't ever. And so that was another bunch of years. And then by the time I stopped doing that type of work, I had zero interest. I don't like the smell. I have had like a sip of wine here or there for whatever
Sun
thing, or
circumcision.
yeah, stuff like that.
That's just
But
weird. Oh man.
uh, the baby had the wine. But
That's
then
true. People watching may not know this, that it is very normal
yes,
for
for
a
them to
baby, 8 days old.
dip a piece of gauze and put it in in wine and
Baby's
put it in the
mouth.
mouth. Doctors do that.
Doctors.
Anyways, no, we did not. The doctor did.
Yeah.
But my other issue with drinking, if we just want to put this out there,
Put it out there,
I
bro.
have problem with is that this doesn't apply to like local breweries and stuff. But I don't like the fact that a lot of the big companies are making a lot of their money off of alcoholics. I saw a chart once of how much alcohol is consumed, and it's like 90% of the alcohol is consumed by 10% of people who buy it. It's some crazy stat like that. Like I saw one of the actual official charts from the industry or whatever, and so they're saying like there's a lot of the big beer companies and stuff. They're making a lot of their profit off the people who are drinking way too much. And so I just am uncomfortable contributing to any type of economic model that is succeeding off the backs of people who have a problem. So that's yeah. Like I said, I don't have a problem with people who drink. I don't have a problem with the fact that alcohol exists. I think that people can have it in moderation. I do not want it. I've never been interested, and I don't like a lot of people make money off of it. Not everybody. I know some people who are, local businesses and, whatever. But that's that story.
I respect that, bro.
Anyways, so it's gonna be cool to post this and watch my friend count drop on Facebook.
I think you're good, bro. Yo, like and subscribe right now if you have respect. Josh and I don't see eye to eye on this issue necessarily in terms of the fact of everything about it, but I have mad respect for a man who says, you know what? As for me and my house, we shall be dry. And I respect that, So like and subscribe right now.
Yeah. Let's
Mom, I don't know if you subscribed yet. It's right below. Just subscribe. Boom.
All right. Mom. Anyways, I think we covered enough things to talk about.
Yeah, bro.
So hopefully, if anyone's watching, you
you can edit this, right? You can edit this. So
Possibly.
you don't necessarily need to use this. Well, hey, I just want you to know, if you are someone who is right now watching this, and you yourself maybe are dressed appropriately up top, but you're wearing sweatpants or maybe less down below, that it's important to always make sure the camera is up, because even in a time of a global pandemic, it's important for us to conduct ourselves with dignity and respect.